Hello and welcome to Healing with Traveling Treasures. I am Tori. This is my bestie, Taryn. And this here, we have such a special guest today. This is Sarina Baptista. She's a good friend of mine and she's an amazing woman. We're here to tell her story, which is just an amazing story. And I'm so excited to have her here today. Thank you, Sarina, for being here.
Oh my
Welcome,
gosh, I'm
Sarina.
so excited. I'm excited to be here and share my story, share my son's story, all of that. So thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I'm really happy to have another author with us today, too. You are an author of several books. Would you please name off some of those titles of your books? And then I'd like you to tell a little bit about yourself and why,
who you are
and what brought you.
What am I doing here, right?
What are you doing here? We know what you're doing here, but we want everyone else to know what you're doing here.
Other people might not. So the book that I always like to start with is My View from Heaven, a boy's story of his journey to heaven and the purpose of life on earth. That is quite the title. That was written by my son. My son transitioned in 2007. His name's JT, and we're going to be talking a lot about him. He wrote that book. Of course, I wrote it for him because I kept telling him, no, you can't write it. You don't have access to a computer, my dear. So he said, no, you're going to write it for me. And we took a bit of time and we did it. It is all about where he is now, how he got there, how he crossed over, what happened to him when he left his body, all of that. And I probably should back up a little bit that he didn't leave and then I just, oh, hi, son, how are you? It didn't work like that. No, I had to train to be able to communicate with him. And I did, because I was hell bent on getting back in connection with him, because I knew there was more for us to do. I didn't know what that was, but I knew there was more. So anyway, that is his book, award-winning book. And I always laugh at that because I have another book, A Bridge to Healing, JT's Story, which I wrote a couple years prior. And I joke that he's the better writer because he got the awards, And then there is also a workbook that is out there too, that goes in connection with the training that I do. I learned to become a psychic medium. Well, I am a psychic medium. I learned to connect. And through that process, I found that it was much simpler than what I thought it was going to be. I really thought that I was, going to have to twirl around 5 times and back out of the room, all those things that you hear about, the myths and all of that. I really thought that, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to communicate with the other side. It was very simple. Here I am, and now I teach others. I teach others to connect to the other side, which I know you look back and go, wow, that I never would have thought that would be me. But JT's my teacher, my helper, my guide, and he's the one that guides all of us in doing this. And so it's up to him, it's up to him on the people that he brings to me. And of course, all of those beautiful souls that are on the other side that he helps with as well. He helps bring them. Right. The other book was released, I think it was 2023, and that is Finding Love and Purpose. I wrote that with 3 other women. We all have losses. 3 of us have lost children, and one had to say goodbye to her husband. And it was not supposed to be a book. It was just supposed to be a writing class that I did. And then JT says, oh, by the way, that's going to be a book. Okay. How do you propose that? And so then he gave us he and the loved ones, the other kids that we were talking to, the husband we were talking to, they gave us the structure. It's an amazing book, considering what we went through in trying to pull, 4 women together. To do anything.
Yeah, but, 2 is enough, right?
And they weren't writers. I was a writer. By that time I had, award-winning books out there, but they weren't. And so they really helped us in pulling that all together. So currently 4 books. I'm working on number 5. JT, of course, wants it out this year. No, that probably isn't going to happen. I'll do my darndest, though. because I know that he has so much more to say. And that's going to be the sequel to My View from Heaven. It's going to go more in depth into, where he is, what we're doing here, because so much has changed since that book was released. So much has changed in the world. So it's fun to write. It's really fun to write and fun to get information from him.
That's awesome. I love that.
I'm looking forward to reading that very much.
Me too.
I really enjoyed JT's story. It's, it's a tragic story, but your writing is so full of love and so full of positivity and so full of hope that it was really engaging and wonderful to read. And I can't wait to read the rest of them. So thank you for those. Thank you for putting that out into the world. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear your story.
Yes.
So before we get too much into this, I wanted you to define the difference between a medium and a psychic and kind of explain where you fall on that spectrum and explain how you get messages and kind of give us a little introduction to that, please.
Absolutely. Yes. Because again, as a child, you're growing up. What do you want to be when you grow up? I did not say, I want to be a psychic medium. I want to talk to dead people. I didn't do that. But all through my life, my dad was very spiritual, and he would take us to, back then in the 70s, it was called occult shops. And he would take us to these occult shops. And I remember getting, incense and crystals and all of that. And I thought, a lot of it, I thought he was a kind of nutty, taking his children to these places. I was a very logical kid. I mean, I did have creativity. I did have all of that, but I was kind of logical as well. And so it was interesting to me that he did that, but I loved it. And I still have things that I got when I was a child,
awesome.
and those, I know, just
So
beautiful.
You
did too? Oh my gosh.
Yes, and we're the parents that took all of our kids to the rock shops and bought them incense and bought them crystals.
Exactly.
And they have tarot cards and they're all a bunch of witches too. So
yes, exactly.
All about it.
Yeah, now it's nothing, right? Yes, I did the same with my kids, after JT left, and yes, and so I was not expecting this path. Definitely not. But I've had some very, what I would call mystical experiences, prophetic experiences. When I was 17, my brother left. He was my stepbrother, but we were definitely brother, sister. I was 17, he was 26, and he was killed in a motorcycle accident. He was coming to me constantly. I didn't really understand it, but I knew it was him. And it wasn't dreams. It was real life. And he would come to me, let me know he was okay. Let me know it's okay for him to go, that he was going to go. Because at the time he was in a coma in the hospital, and they really did not expect him to make it. I was still holding out hope that he would, but he was telling me, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to go. And so confusing to a 17-year-old, to have that happen. But then, gosh, the signs and the smells. He would give me smells. He would give me the smell of his hospital room in my car when he was close by. And those things, they just, that's not coincidence. That just doesn't happen. So I would have these things happen, dreams with my grandmother, who gave me prophetic information about my future, about other things. And again, I thought, wow, that was kind of a weird dream. But I'm going, oh my gosh, she was right. And so I was kind of prepped for that, but really didn't understand it, really did not understand it at all until JT left, until he was sick. He caught the flu in March 2007. And that was a Sunday night. And he and his sister, his younger sister, were sick. He was 7, she was 5. And both of them were very sick. I would spend time with both of them. She actually had a higher fever. She was throwing up. He didn't seem so bad. So, it was very odd that he would be the one to go. But that's also such a blessing too, because then I didn't think, oh, maybe I should have done something more, maybe, but I was doing everything that I could, and it wasn't random. And that was the big thing. It wasn't random. When my daughter was sicker, there was just no reason for JT to leave and not her. Now I know that he was never planning to stay here for a long time. He told me at one point that he had 3 exits, and the first 2 he couldn't take because he didn't want to leave me, but the last one he had to go. And so, and I could remember those dates. I could remember those times that he was talking about. So just very strangely, right, coming into this world, your son transitions, he dies from the flu, and oh my gosh, then all of a sudden we're in this totally different world, a world that I never knew really existed. And so given that, I started focusing on, where is he? Where did he go? He didn't just die and there's his body and that's it. I did know that there was an afterlife just from different things. My brother coming to me, my grandmother, and my dad, all that stuff. And it really was very, what's the word I want to use? Just such a different road. I just didn't even think that I would be on that road. But here I was. I would look out the window of his bedroom and just say, where are you? Just looking to the stars and saying, where are you? I know you're out there somewhere. And all the while he was trying to communicate with me. And of course, grief does such a cruel thing. It basically blocks connection, blocks communication. And that's okay. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to understand that it was up to me to communicate, that I could do it, but I did have to work through some of that grief too. And so it was just like 5 weeks in when he started showing himself as dragonflies. And I knew it was him. I was at the cemetery. I was having such a hard day, just wanting to, I literally was beating the ground, and I really wanted to just dig him up. It was one of those things that moms get weird. Moms get so weird when their kids are in the ground. I'd worry about him in the wintertime because it was in Colorado, and I'd worry about him getting cold, things like that. Moms just go through things like that. And so I was beating the ground, so angry, having an absolute temper tantrum, and a dragonfly flew past. And I didn't even realize what it was, but I stopped what I was doing, got a little bit low, and I said, wow, what was that? And then it flew by again. And I thought, oh, wow, he's big. He was a big boy. He was a big dragonfly, blue. He was a blue dragonfly. And so I said, okay. And then he flew by again right in front of me. And I thought, that's odd. I didn't think that they did that. I didn't think that they did that. And then he started dancing in front of me. Aww. And I knew it was him. I knew that it was JT, and that he was letting me know he was okay. And that was just 5 weeks after he left. That he'd given me other messages also through other people, which I was so angry at that too. Why is he talking to them and not talking to me? And again, not realizing grief really has a hold on you at that point. That doesn't mean it's not possible. I really want to tell people who are in grief, that doesn't mean you don't connect. It just means that you need to work a little bit through the grief and help yourself to open up. But that was a huge part. Now, it was just like 1 or 2 days later, he was part of a Lego club. He had his own Lego club. We homeschooled. And so the homeschool group would get together every month. They would build their creations and then they would share them. It was really a fun group, and it was all his idea. Of course, it was my financing. You know how Lego pieces are. So we had our final memorial for him, and it was May. It was because he left in March. And again, the dragonfly came to me in May at the cemetery. And then 2 days later, 1 or 2 days later, we had this club. And we were putting everything back into my car, and one of his friends pointed to this board that holds the Legos and said dragonfly. And I thought he was talking about a piece, a Lego piece. And so I put my finger down. I said, did you mean this piece? And at that point, a dragonfly was on the board. I didn't even see it. It hopped up onto my finger. I pulled it up to eye level, and he tucked in his wings and just looked at me.
Oh,
and I
that's
thought,
That is
wow.
so beautiful.
And
I've
I
had a
said to
few
everybody,
validations too.
yes, I
Yeah,
said to
same.
everyone, this is JT. He's letting us know he's here. He's happy. And he is so excited that we did this.
Right,
And
yeah.
so, JT was relentless, and so persistent on getting me this information because he knew what was to come. I didn't.
He did.
No,
He
I didn't.
absolutely knew.
Yeah. And so down the road, we'll fast forward a little bit because I just love telling that story because just letting people know those signs are real and they really are from your loved one. But moving forward, I didn't know, again, I was a psychic medium. What I did know was that I wanted to connect with him. And down the road, I would follow the breadcrumbs, as I called them, that JT left for me. And he brought me to the teachers I needed to talk to. He brought me to the first medium that I got a reading about JT. And she's Michelle Aborny, and she's in Orange County, California. I don't know if she's reading any. This was 2007. And so I don't know if she's still doing any readings, but she was just beautiful. And she's the one that said, did you know you're a medium? You're the bridge between this world and the next. Wow. And I said, well, how does that even happen? What do you do? What do you do? And she said, training. And so I had gotten into training. I was in a group training. I was in a mentorship training. I was in multiple psychic development training. And I learned the difference. The original question you had, and I went totally off, but the original question was psychic and medium. And I am both. I am a psychic medium. Psychic is tuning into energy. That's how I say it. It's tuning into energy, whether it's, energy that you need to know about now, energy you need to know about the future, energy you need to know about your cat, that you rescued, those kinds of things. And then medium is talking to loved ones on the other side. That is connecting with them. Now, I do a combo thing usually because people maybe need to hear from their guides. They need to hear from their loved ones. There's so much. I mean, the world is very interesting right now, and people need to have a way to get answers. I love teaching people how to connect to the other side. I absolutely love it because then it gives them the opportunity to get those answers on their own. And that is just, that was so important to me to not have to go to somebody and get a reading. I mean, I still do it every now and then, just, at fairs and things like that, because it is fun to hear somebody else tell you.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, everyone can get messages from the other side. Everyone. And that's hard for some people to believe.
Do you ever feel like you're testing those other psychics? Or you're like, let's just see what she says, right?
Oh, it's so funny. There was a time, and I usually don't say what I do. Why muddy the water? I figure that's not the level I'm asking for. I'm not asking them to help me with my psychic work. I'm doing fine. But maybe I need to know something about my daughter. It's really hard for us to get information about our own kids, right? So maybe it's that. Exactly. Right. So, but it doesn't have anything to do with who I am, as a professional. But sometimes they will say, there was one time where I was, and I could probably, do I throw her under the bus? Do I not throw her under the bus? That is the question. It was someone, the person, no. The person,
definitely throw her under the bus.
No, the person that I received this reading from, and I just thought, oh my gosh, how is this woman getting money? I will not say the name now that I've said that, but I had my daughter with me, and she looked at my daughter and she says, well, you're psychic and you can block your mom. I'm sitting right there. And she said, you're psychic. You can block your mom. She doesn't need to tune into you. She tunes into you all the time. And I thought, wow, I am sitting here. I'm the one that's paying you, right?
Right? Oh my God.
That's not the kind of reading that I do.
Yeah.
Not the kind of reading that I do. And then
Wow.
and then I said, so she did pick up that I was intuitive, but we exited there kind
I
of
bet.
quickly. And my poor daughter, she was like, what was she trying to say? And then my daughter is so, she thinks very intently about everything. She's a Scorpio, so she thinks very intently about everything. So yeah, both of you,
Yep.
both of your Scorpios, well, happy birthday, early or late.
Just a little bit early. Her birthday's
Wow.
October 30th, and mine is November 1st. So we're on either side of
Oh my
Halloween.
gosh, that is
Those
awesome.
are our absolute favorite
Happy
season
birthday.
ever.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you. We have
Yes.
celebrated our birthdays together since we turned 5, 6.
6.
Oh my gosh.
We met when we were 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we've celebrated
That's
our birthdays
awesome.
together many, many years. And this one is our 50th.
Yep.
So
wow, how
we're turning 50 this
exciting.
year.
I know,
Oh my
that's why we're
gosh, that's
together right now,
great.
because we're celebrating like all
Yes.
month long. We went
Yes.
to
Oh, perfect.
the Shining Ball at the Stanley Hotel last night.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love the Shining Ball. That's great.
Oh, so fun.
So fun. Exactly.
And we're going to Casa Bonita.
Yeah.
Oh, have to, right? That is awesome. Congratulations, both of you, for making it. For making it to 50.
It's been a
no
rough
small
road, but
feat.
Man, that's the other thing that JT and I talk about a lot is, the contracts that we have and what we signed up for. I found out in a Life Between Lives regression just 4 months after he left that, yes, I agreed to have him go. And that's insane to me.
Yeah.
What mother, I always say, what are we doing up there besides, are there really good drugs? What are we doing where we make these decisions to have this stuff? Crazy that we agreed to it, but we do. And, we're advanced souls. This is not our first rodeo, and we are here to assist others. We're here to learn. To learn what we didn't learn in the past 50 lifetimes or whatever. And that is a huge part of what JT and I do too. And you can tell from the world around us that it's definitely time. People are waking up and people are saying, wait a minute, maybe I don't have to do it this way anymore. And I love when people do that. I am that also. I always ask why do I need to do it that way? I don't want to do it that way anymore. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the definition.
Man, she does what she wants.
I do. That's always been my line. I do what I want. And you can't tell me how to live my life.
That's great.
Which is really funny when you're on a big long road trip with her and you're like, maybe you need the right lane. And she's like, don't tell me how to live my life.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
An hour later, we should have taken that.
Right.
That's awesome.
Okay. Getting back into it.
Right. So we already kind of discussed how you discovered your gift, I think. Is there anything more you wanted to say about how you discovered it, how it came to you the first time, or how
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. The reason why I want to say a little bit more is because I really want people to understand that it comes in really kooky ways sometimes. And again, I was just picking up the breadcrumbs that he was laying down for me and just asking, where are you? I want to connect with you. And he led me to some different people who I had worked with in the past, who led me to other people, a very prominent psychic medium, John Holland. And John Holland was going to be in Seattle just in the following couple of months with Brian Weiss. Now, I had done work with Brian Weiss, past lives and things like that. And I thought, maybe Brian knows where my son is. And so I looked up where he was going to be. It was going to be again in Seattle. I thought, okay, I'm just going to fly to Seattle. I'm just going to do it. And I saw that he was with this other guy and I'd never heard of him. I wasn't in the psychic medium world, so I didn't know who he was. But I thought, well, maybe I should pick up his book. Maybe I should pick up the book that he's going to be talking about. And then I found that I didn't have to go to Seattle. He was actually going to be in my town within 3 weeks.
Wow.
Sweet.
Leave it to JT, right? My son, to lay it out that easily. He says, no, I don't want her to have to fly to Seattle. But I did read the book, and it was so funny because I was reading part of it, and it was all about the clairs, how we receive information. And I was reading the part about clairsentience, and when you're clairsentient, it's about feeling. And I don't know how I meant to ask him, because I've done work with him since then, and I meant to ask him, how did you get these things? But he said that if you're in a store and somebody walks up to you and acts as if you are an employee and asks you questions, then you are probably clairsentient.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said to myself, wow, that happens to me all the time.
Me too.
Well, the very
It does.
doesn't it?
Happens
Yes.
to my husband, especially when he wears his Walmart vest.
Well,
he's got this vest that's like the perfect
different,
color that Walmart
right?
people wear, but it's not a
Totally.
Walmart vest. It's the right color, and everybody
That
triggers.
is so
Everybody
funny.
asks.
Everybody thinks he's Walmart. Well, and that is not what we're talking about. No kidding. Right? That's the Walmart vest. This is, this is just being, and people know it. People feel it, that you have the information. And so your husband probably does have the information, and he's just got his
I know
vest
he
on,
does,
faking
actually.
it, right?
I know he
Yeah.
does.
Men are so funny. They're mostly, there's so many of them that are knowers, like my husband. He's a knower. So I call him the know-it-all, because he comes up with these things, and he says them like they're his ideas, And I say, okay, thanks, hon. Well, be sure to thank your teacher too, because they're the ones that gave that to you. But one of the things is this clairsentience. And the very next day after reading it, I thought, oh, wow, I wonder if that's it. Is that it? Am I supposed to be a medium? Is that how I receive information? Is this what's supposed to happen? Is this what JT has in mind? I mean, all these questions.
Yeah.
The following day, I'm at, guess what, Walmart. And I'm in actually a motorized cart because I broke my toe. And I got so angry that I kicked the bed. I don't know why I kicked the bed, but I was so angry
I'm
that
sure
I
the
couldn't
bed deserved
connect.
it.
The bed deserved it. It was the bed's fault.
That's
But I was
right.
really angry with my grief and all of that. And so I just really, it was a very, very painful experience, but I couldn't walk. And so I got into the motorized cart, and I'm over by the toothpaste. And obviously I'm not in my dark blue shirt and tan pants, right? Which is the Walmart uniform. I'm in a motorized cart. I'm sitting there looking up at the toothpaste. And this woman comes up to me and she says, excuse me, where are the curlers? Just deadpan. Like, I mean, this woman did not have any idea that I was not a Walmart employee, had no idea. And I started laughing, and I had to stop my laughter to tell her where the curlers were.
You had the information.
I had the information, but also just to laugh and say, I get it. I get it. I understand. This is my path now. I understand. So that was another way that the universe and JT and all the fun energies that are helping me, the teachers and all of that, another fun way for them to let me know that I'm on the right track.
Right.
One of my favorite things to read in your book were all of the little signs that people have received, like finding nickels in random places. Can you cover some of those? What are some of your favorite signs that you've heard from people?
Wow, there are a lot. The spirit works overtime. They really do. One of the ones that a friend of mine gets, and she's a friend now because we both have kids on the other side, but her son, his football number was 54. And so everywhere she sees 54, everywhere. And it's not coincidence. Some people would say, oh, well, 54. How often do you see the number 54? Honestly, right? So her kid works overtime in getting her the number 54. Then there are just really blatant signs from, words like bumper stickers, all is well, or I'm happy, or something like that. that they used to say here. And it all of a sudden you'll be thinking about them, and it's going to be on the car in front of you, or it's going
So
to
whenever you
be
see the
on
chill
the
bitch, you'll get
billboard.
their sticker. You'll know that's from me. Okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah, agree on it beforehand, right? So you know.
Hot girls hit curbs. That's my gift to you.
That's funny. Don't be surprised if she brings that, honestly.
Oh, I believe it 100% she will.
I know if Tori goes first,
Yes.
she's going to come back and haunt me too.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
Well, you better. Yeah, you have to.
Most definitely will.
That
I got
is
some plans
something you
for
have
this
to
one
do.
here.
You've got some plans. Good. Good. Yes, don't tell her. Don't tell her.
For me, signs come in songs a lot.
Yes, yes.
I have
Absolutely.
when my grandmother passed away, one of the songs that so we made like a CD of songs, like all of us put in a different songs for this CD to, you know, to memorialize my grandmother. And
Yes.
one of the songs that I put in there was Home. I can't remember who sings it. But at the end of the song, and I had written my grandma a little letter, and I didn't show it to anybody else. I wrote the letter, I folded it up, and I put it in her hand in her casket.
Oh, wow.
And in that letter, one of the things I said, please give me a sign. Please, you know, give me a sign that you're okay. And so it was, I don't know, maybe a month or so after she had passed away, and I get in my car and that song is playing. And the very end of the song was, and I knew that was my grandma coming to me, first of all. And at the very end of the song, the lyrics changed just a little bit. It said,
oh my gosh,
I'm home now. I'm okay.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
And they can do that. You know, I'm asked a lot, well, how do they do this? You know, because I have seen dimes materialize. I think I was giving blood or something along those lines. And I heard something whiz at my ear, and I looked over, and it wasn't there. And then all of a sudden it was a dime, and it had just appeared. It appeared. And then it fell to the floor. And that was one of the things that JT was giving me was coins. And that's another huge thing that they do is coins. And things like, you know, they will put them in places that you have looked before, that you've gone over before.
Right,
like,
yeah.
let's say you just made your bed. I get that one a lot from people coming into my office and getting readings is, I just made my bed. I went to the bathroom, came back, and there's a coin on there.
Yeah.
And so they can do that because it's energy. And that's one of the things that might trip people out is, oh, well, how do they do that? Is that magic? That's weird. It's not really, when you think of the world and us and how we're all energy. We are in a certain frequency of energy. They're in a different frequency of energy. And all that they do is bring that into our frequency. And then it becomes real in this world. And that's all that is. It's not really magic or anything else. It's just working through frequencies. It's just working through that energy field. So they do that all the time, you know, and phone calls, you know, I do get a lot of people who receive phone calls from their loved ones, right? Phone calls from, you know, and the phone's been turned off. They have the phone with them. They have their loved one's phone. All of a sudden, their phone will ring and it'll show their number, show the person's number. But they try to answer it and it's just static. So they will do whatever they can do, within reason, of course, to get those messages through. But I do say that it is a wonderful practice to talk with a medium, one that is well, I shouldn't say accredited, because there are no real rules for what we do, but I do believe training is super important. I've learned so much through my training. I mean, so much, but I would not say that you have to have a certification, you have to have this, you have to have that, because I know plenty of wonderful mediums where they haven't needed to do that, but I would say definitely someone who is recommended, someone who is recommended from people that have been to that medium. And when use your BS meter too, right? I always say we all have a BS meter. If you're not feeling it, if you're like, I mean, I have that sometimes with clients. Clients will, or people will call me, leave a message, and I'm going, ew, I don't know. I don't think I want to be in that energy. And so I'll ask.
Worms,
Yeah.
right?
So I'll ask JT, I'll ask my teachers, is this someone, do I need to call them back? Of course I respond back, but I will usually say, I'm booked out, because I am booked out. And then leave it at that. And if they continue to come back, then then I'll ask them again, okay, do I need to talk to them? And they would say no, because usually your first response or your energy from it is going to be very, very accurate, very accurate. So definitely listen to that. But I highly recommend getting those readings, because you will leave, hopefully, you will leave with the understanding, the knowledge, the truth that your loved one is still there. And they just changed forms. That's the laws of energy is, we can't destroy energy. The body does stop, but the energy within the body does not. That's the soul. And that energy continues. And we can connect with that energy anytime we can connect with that energy. So I do like to share that.
That's so comforting to me. That's so comforting to me. How does a session go with you? What is it like to go into a session with you? What all do you do?
I always, whenever somebody asks me a question like that, I like to mess with them and say, well, first you have to bring me a dead chicken. And then you have to, but I'm just joking.
That's silver across the palm.
No, you don't have to do any of that. You just have to get on my scheduler, right? Go to my website, get on my scheduler, and book the appointment. And then it's usually a Zoom. I have moved away from Colorado. I'm now in Florida. And so probably 99.99999% of my clients are Zoom. They're all over the world. And what a beautiful gift, of video conferencing that we have. So then they receive an email from me with a confirmation and instructions, because a lot of times people are given misinformation, or they are told things that just, for me as a medium, I just don't do it that way. And maybe other mediums do, but I want to tell you what is going to happen when you have a reading with me. And I do call in a spirit. So I say, who do you want to talk to? Let's bring them in, because my sessions are a half hour, not an hour, because we can get right to it and get information right off the bat. But if you want me to do, is it bigger than a bread box, and I have a male here, and he's from the 1800s, and he's got a hat on. That takes so much time to identify that person. So I just say, give me the first name and relationship of the person you want to talk to, and then we call that person in. It's so simple. And that's what I love about it, because I do have a ton of parents who come to me to talk to their kids, obviously on the other side. And I want to make sure that their kids are coming through. Who do you want to talk to? And so some people will say, oh, just whoever shows up. And I think, okay.
You're like, oh, look, it's Elvis.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm giving you the opportunity. You paid money for this. I want the person to come through who you want to talk to. And then it's, great grandma who wants to share a cookie recipe from the other side or something like that. And then they say, well, gosh, I really wanted to talk to my mom. Well, why didn't you say that? That's right. Let's bring mom in. Let's bring mom in right now. So I make it very clear. Let's define what we are doing in this half hour, so that you are happy with the session, so that you get the information that you want to get. Because that's my job, is to get the information for you, so that that is your loved one. Absolutely. And then beyond that, again, training. I offered so many training courses to help you connect with your loved ones, with your guides, or teach you how to be a psychic medium. I have certification programs for that too. So it's just so much fun to watch people open, and they just become these beautiful bright stars, these beautiful bright energies, because they have learned the recipe. And that's really it. Just, I give you the tools, you learn the recipe, and then you go from there. Now, is it easy for everyone? No. There are a lot of us who have blocks. My block again was grief, right? And
Right.
a lot of people have the block that they might not believe in themselves, or they might not believe that they're worthy of receiving that connection.
Well,
And that's absolutely not true. We are soul. We are soul in a human body, and we have chosen to incarnate. We have chosen to be here, but we are soul, and we are always connected to the other side. Always, always, always. So everyone can connect. And again, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do the training with some people because we have to get the blocks out of the way. Sometimes
Right.
not. Sometimes it's a one and done. They come to me once, I give them some tools, and they're off and running. So it's really a beautiful process, but everyone can do it.
I love hearing from you and learning from you that it is a skill that we can learn. It's not just something that you're born with and some people
Yes.
have and some people don't. We all have it to some degree. And we all
Yes.
have the, depending on how interested you are in it and how much energy you're willing to put into learning it,
Right.
how successful you can be at it, So I am really excited about that idea and being able to hone my skills a little bit and learn more about it. So tell us
Yes.
how people can connect with you. Do you have a website? Do you have phone numbers? We're
Yes, I
happy to share
do.
your information.
I do. And it's so funny. I laugh because I also, I have been building websites since 1997. And so when somebody says, do you have a website? Well, of course I have a website, right? But not everybody does. My website,
Right.
the easiest way to get to it is bridgetohealing.com, all spelled out. But you can also get to it by using my name, sarinabaptista.com, and that will land you at my main site. And the main site has all of the sessions that I do. It has the training that I do, although I do have another training site as well. I'm trying to combine them again. I had to separate them because it was just getting a little too confusing, all of the things that were going on, and I had to separate them out. But I'm thinking I'm going to combine them again. But there are always links to the training site from the sarinabaptista.com site. But I would say absolutely check that out. The big things that I have right now is a private mentorship program where we go one-on-one, and I teach you what you need, the tools that you need to connect. And we bring in the master teachers. They give you homework. They help you hone your gifts, your clairs. And also there is a separate connection to that where I do have an online Learn to Connect program course, an online course. We can add that to it as well as part of it. So that one is amazing. It's exactly what I went through to get to where I am, building the foundation, building the bottom layer, because we all have to have a foundation to begin. And so there's, the private mentorship by itself, which is a monthly one-on-one with me. And then we can add the Learning to Connect online course if you want. There's also, if you're already practicing or you want to become a psychic medium, that program, that certification program starts in January. All the information is on my website. And it's really amazing. The things we do for 12 months, we go over everything. We dive deep. We dive deep so that when December comes, you are ready and able to be a certified psychic medium. And then beyond that, I also have a master certification class, which I'm running now with some very beautiful people who finished the basic psychic medium certification. They wanted to take it to a all new level, and so we're doing that one. That one ends in December as well. So there's just a ton of things, and I love, love, love to train. I love, love, love to give readings too, because again, maybe it's your first step. Maybe it's your first step to say, God, I know they're out there, just like I did with JT. I know you're there. Where are you? I know you're there. And being able to be the bridge. And that's what that medium told me. She said, you are the bridge between this world and the next. Being able to be that bridge and being able to provide that for people so that they can, again, be their own bridge. I'm all about teaching you to fish instead of making you, whatever flambe fish you want.
Right. I love that.
Fish yourself.
That. That's so exciting. Yes, absolutely. That is so exciting. Thank you so much for all of that information. I would love to just dive into all of that.
Absolutely. Well, the programs
Yeah.
are open now, especially the psychic medium certification. That one, I need to wrap up the registration piece probably by the beginning of December. So we have another month, but the private mentorship goes year round. There are no limitations to that. It's a monthly one-on-one for however you want to go, for however long you want to go. No contracts or anything like that. It's just when do you want to meet? Again, some people, all they need is one or two and they are rocking it and they are going. Other people, they feel like they need to have that monthly support. And I do have people who say, I don't want to stop. Yes, I can do this. I'm receiving, I'm connecting, but I don't want to stop. Then keep coming. Keep coming. The teachers are amazing. These are very high frequency teachers that we deal with, high frequency energies, and they know what you need to know. They know what you need to do. So I just love working with them.
That's awesome. I have another question for you. So this is such a wonderful gift that you have and that you share, and I love that you do it.
Thank you.
But I want to know, is it ever like
a curse?
Yeah. Is it ever a curse?
We know it's
That's
a gift.
the
Is
word
it
I
ever
was
a
looking
curse?
for. Yes.
I feel in the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing that it was. And the reason why I say that is because the original human teacher I had didn't teach me boundaries, didn't teach me that I could shut it off, didn't teach me how to keep the riffraff away. All of those things I know now. And I teach like day one, we go over all of that when we do training. So because I didn't understand that I had the authority that I could say, no, you're not going to come and give me a message right now. No, I'm not going to give you a message to your wife that's in front of me at the grocery store. I didn't know I had that ability. And so once I learned that from my teachers on the other side, not my teachers here, but my teachers on the other side showed me that. They said, get your work schedule, put your work schedule out there, and they can come to you during your work hours, but not anytime other than that. Wow. Stated the intention, set the parameters, and I always have my house cleared and sealed and all of that, so only high frequency can come in. So once I did that, then I didn't have the curse, so to speak. I didn't have randomness happening. But before that, absolutely. And I do hear that from people who say, I'm just afraid to get into this because I get these, I have these weird dreams and it feels like I'm being attacked, things like that. Not to put that out there because that's not the norm, definitely not the norm. But I say you can control that. You have the ability to say, no, I'm not doing it that way. Clear and seal your place. Call in your helpers. We have such incredible helpers on the other side. All of the ones that we call angels, which are just high frequency energies that are here to assist us. They can watch over things for you, give them permission to do that. And that's what I did. And at that moment, all of the riffraff again went away, never needed to worry about it again. And so that I feel is a really important piece to this. And yes, sometimes I'll get bugged in the grocery store. I get a little push when there's someone that is on the other side and they want to talk to their loved one. And I say, no, you get your loved one to cross my path at my website, not here. I'm not going to do a message here in the parking lot. Sorry. They need to come through my website because they need to understand, they need accountability. They need to have investment in it so that they're not just looking at me like I'm an insane person.
Crazy woman, right?
Crazy
Go
woman.
to the grocery store.
You
Hey, I've
would
got a
believe
message for
it.
your
Yes,
dead husband.
exactly. Right. Even if it's
He
accurate, it
says,
doesn't
"Don't buy
matter.
the wine," right?
Yes. Put the wine back, get the other brand.
Right.
So that's the
She's
only
gonna
time
say,
I
"I do
can
what I
think
want."
of. Yeah. Right. That's the only time I can think of that what I would call it a curse, that where I didn't feel I had control over what I was doing. But then that went away right away once they taught me how to set my boundaries and say, I don't only high frequency. And that's what I do and that's what I teach. And I just love
good.
that.
That's good, and it's nice that you can do that, because I think that you're right. That is something that a lot of people will worry about, but
Yes.
so I'm glad we talked about that. As far as like that, like you say, have your person go to the website and do it the right way. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a little story about that too that involves you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there was this one day I was at home and I was just having a bad day, and there were just a lot of things in my life that I was just having a really hard time with. And this particular day, I got home from wherever I was, and I was just so frustrated and I was so mad and I was crying, and I said out loud, I said, "Daddy, I need your help." And the very next day, I got an email from you asking if I would be willing to have one of your students give me a
Oh,
reading.
wow. Wow.
And I said, absolutely. And so the lady and I, we exchanged information and we got a date set up.
Good.
And that day, we were on Zoom, and it was amazing the things that she told me. And I was just like,
Oh,
and
that's
then at the
great.
end of she actually cried during our reading. And she told me, she goes, "I have never cried during a reading before." She says,
Wow.
"This is so powerful," and I was obviously bawling too. And I was just like, I could not believe some of the things she was telling me. And at the end of our session, she told me, she says, "Your dad has been coming to me for weeks, and
Oh
he
my
was so
gosh.
strong about it." And
Wow.
I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I told her, I said, "I asked him for help and he found a way to get me." And
Yes.
it was
Isn't that
amazing.
beautiful? Isn't that just amazing? And
Mhm.
that's what they do. That's,
Yeah.
they have the ability to do that. They really do. And it's just so I don't know why I'm surprised, right? Because
Yeah.
I deal with this all the time, but I still say,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. And what a beautiful experience. I'm so glad that you
Mhm.
had that. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Have you ever had any readings?
I've had a few tarot card readings, and I've been to one time I went to see a psychic medium do a little thing where she was at the church, the little old church on Main Street,
Mhm.
and she had a big crowd of probably about 100 people there, and she did readings for folks live, and that was pretty
Mm.
exciting.
That's awesome.
But I
Mhm.
have never had a personal reading from a psychic medium, and I would love to.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I know who I would talk to already, but I have a few like Janis Joplin, No.
It's so funny that you say that because a lot of people say, well, can we talk to anybody? And yes, I've talked to, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of this person. Tolstoy.
Oh yeah?
Tolstoy. This
Tolstoy. Well, I
woman,
had a
yes. And she said she was connected with him in another lifetime and she really wanted to talk to him about that life. And so I just asked my guides, okay, is this okay? Can I call on Tolstoy? And they said, well, why wouldn't you be able to? Okay.
Wow.
So we called on Tolstoy, brought data through, brought information through that she was able to validate. And yeah, so we can talk to anyone. We can.
both of us have worked for hospice.
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
both of us have profound experiences of watching people in their last
Bet.
moments,
Mhm.
connecting with people on the other side.
Yes.
One of my favorite stories is my grandfather, when he was like a day before, he was at a big party and he sat up in his bed and he looked around and he said, "Who are all these people?" And of course, I couldn't see any of them, but it was
Right?
about 3 o'clock
Right.
in
He
the
was
morning.
happy
And I
with it.
said,
Oh my
I just rolled
gosh.
with it. I said, "I don't know, Grandpa, who are all these people?" And he said, "I don't know." And he started introducing himself and he started asking him, "Are you from
Wow.
Wyoming? Are you from Utah? Are you from
Oh my
Colorado?" And he said they were
gosh.
all people that he knew, but he couldn't see any faces. They all seemed familiar. They all seemed like they loved him. And I was so comforted knowing that he had all those people there to greet him when he was ready
Yes.
to go. There's so
Yes.
many other stories we have like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Oh
and
gosh, I
I,
bet.
I'm really glad to hear you validating people's stories about those things and their
Oh my gosh,
experiences. A lot of
absolutely.
us think it's just crazy talk, drugs at the end of life. I don't think
No.
so. I really believe
Mm-mm.
in my heart that all of those beings came to be with him that night and
Absolutely.
with
Yes.
me and
Mhm.
share that
Yes.
experience with me
Mhm.
because they knew I would be okay with it. And,
Mhm.
Right.
I
I
wrote
feel the
And
down
that
same
is,
way.
every
I
detail.
love, and I love how you bring that up too. I had a dear friend. It was after JT left, she developed cancer. She was a neighbor and she was holding on. And I, I finally told her, I said, it's okay to go. You're going to be fine. Your husband's going to be fine. And so she decided to stop the feeding tube and all of that. But I had to take a trip and I wanted to be there with her when she left and I couldn't. So I asked JT, I said, please be there. Please help her to just move wherever she needed to move. Now we don't have to have help, right? But
Mhm.
he knew that I would want him to be there. And so it was probably maybe just 3 or 4 days later I was talking with her husband and he was sitting there with her and he said, she's talking about the boy. The boy is with her.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, that's JT.
My boy.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
my boy, not the boy. That's my
Aw.
boy. And I just, what a way for her to let me know and for him to let me know that he was there because there's
That's
no
Right.
other
so
reason for any other boy to be there, right? It's
yeah.
like that was him and he was letting me know, yes, I'm right
Oh,
here and I'm going to make sure that you know it. So absolutely we get visits from our loved ones who are already on the other side. Nobody leaves alone. Nobody is alone
yeah.
when they go.
Mhm.
There's so much help, so much help.
Yeah. Which is also very comforting to know, you
Yes,
know? Yeah.
Mhm. Well,
definitely.
Sarina, it is such an inspiration to talk to you. It's been so great having you on our show, and I hope that
I'm
we get
just
to
so
talk to you
blessed.
again sometime.
Thank
And
you. Thank you for doing this again. I love talking about JT. JT loves to talk. So between the two, we really
Yeah.
love to share. And thank you so much for allowing this time for us to share the story.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh gosh, this has been absolutely amazing and I thank you so much for being here. And JT, I thank you for being here cuz I know you are.
yep,
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I feel you here with us and with my mama. I can feel her here too. She's hanging out with us
Yes.
and your
Yeah.
dad.
Yep.
I think I think we have a coffee table full of loved ones up there, and they're all just sitting around
Oh,
talking about us and hanging out
right?
and waiting for us to get
Absolutely.
there. And
Yep.
Waiting. Yep,
so
exactly.
yeah, I look forward to learning more about this, and I want to
Mhm.
get into your psychic studies a little bit. I think that would be really
Hey,
fascinating.
come on over.
Absolutely.
I love it.
It's
Well,
all
thank
Zoom.
you
It's
again.
all Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you again, Sarina. And happy travels, everyone.
Happy travels indeed.
And